The day our parents' patent rights were transferred, I learned that karma doesn't always work on your schedule. Sometimes it needs a little push. I'm Vivian Reed, and I sat in our family lawyer's pristine conference room at Reed Pharmaceuticals, watching my sister Cordelia's manicured fingers tap against the polished oak table. Her expensive watch caught the fluorescent light with each movement, the rhythmic tapping echoing through the room like a countdown to destruction. As per the board's final decision, Evelyn began, adjusting her reading glasses and shuffling through the stack of patent documents. The entirety of the Reed Medical Technology portfolio, including all research data, clinical trials, and developmental IP, will transfer to Cordelia Reed's division. The words hit me like a physical blow. I gripped the armrests of my ergonomic chair, my knuckles turning white. There must be some mistake. The preliminary research was mine. There's no mistake, Cordelia said, her voice dripping with academic condescension. The board understands where the true innovative potential lies. She straightened her tailored blazer, a gesture I'd seen countless times during her corporate presentations. I turned to Evelyn, searching her face for any sign of support, but she maintained her professional mask. Nothing? They're transferring all of it? There's a formal statement from the ethics committee, Evelyn said, sliding a sealed envelope across the table. Cordelia stood up, smoothing her designer suit. I have a meeting with the research division. Life-saving innovations don't develop themselves. She paused at the door, looking back at me with that practiced executive smile. Don't worry, little sister. I'll make sure our family's medical legacy stays intact. The door clicked shut behind her, and I finally released the breath I'd been holding. Evelyn waited until Cordelia's heels stopped clicking down the hallway before speaking. Vivian, I know this is difficult. Difficult? I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. They've taken everything. Years of research, all my clinical trials. My phone buzzed with a message from Marcus, saw the board meeting on the schedule. How bad? I typed back, total transfer. She gets everything. Marcus, open the committee statement. Now. My hands trembled as I tore open the envelope. Inside was a single page of corporate letterhead with a formal statement. Dear Dr. Vivian Reed, after careful consideration of the project's scope and requirements, the board has determined that the Advanced Medical Research Division, under Dr. Cordelia Reed's leadership, provides the most suitable environment for development. While your preliminary research shows promise, the responsibility of leading such a critical project would be too demanding for your current experience level. Regards, Ethics Committee. I crumpled the paper in my fist. Current experience level. That's what they reduced my years of research to. There's something else you should know, Evelyn said, leaning forward. Your sister's already scheduling a press conference to announce her new breakthrough medical device project. She's using your research as the foundation. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, don't let her see you break. We have Plan B. I took a deep breath, straightened my spine, and responded, initiating Protocol B, meet at the lab in 30. I stood at the back of the hospital's crowded conference hall, watching Cordelia command the attention of every medical reporter present. My sister had always known how to work a room, especially when there were cameras involved. The Reed Cardiovascular Enhancement System will revolutionize cardiac care, she announced, gesturing at the technical diagrams behind her. This breakthrough technology will set new standards in preventive medicine. My phone vibrated. Marcus, those are your original designs. She's barely changed the schematics. I typed back, save the slides. Document everything. A reporter raised her hand. Dr. Reed, what about your sister? Will she have any role in the development? Cordelia's professional smile didn't waver. Dr. Vivian? Oh, she's always been more focused on theoretical research. Clinical development isn't really her strong suit. The ethics committee understood that, which is why they made their choice. We need to protect patient safety, after all. The crowd murmured in agreement, and I felt my face burn. Beside me, Marcus squeezed my arm. "Remember the plan," he whispered. "Let her dig deeper." "Too late," I muttered, turning to leave. But Cordelia's voice stopped me. "In fact, there's my sister now. Vivian, why don't you come up here?" The spotlight found me, and suddenly all eyes were on the family disappointment. I forced a professional smile and declined with a subtle shake of my head. "See?" Cordelia laughed. "Always shy about clinical presentations. But don't worry, sis, I'll make sure you get an invitation to the first successful trial." My phone buzzed again. "Nathaniel, the research team is uncomfortable with the accelerated timeline. She's pushing too hard." "Marcus, perfect. Keep documenting everything." Later that night, I sat in my private lab, reviewing the press conference footage. Marcus paced behind my chair, analyzing the technical specifications displayed in Cordelia's presentation. "She's oversimplifying the protocols," he said, pointing at the screen. "These safety parameters are nowhere near adequate." I closed my laptop and turned to face him. "You're right. She can't get away with this. What are you thinking?" I walked to my workstation, looking at the rows of prototype devices we developed. Everyone thinks I'm the inexperienced researcher who can't handle clinical trials. Even our own ethics committee believed that. I turned back to Marcus, a plan already forming in my mind. "But they never knew about my parallel research, did they?" Marcus's eyes widened. "The advanced safety protocols you've been developing?" I nodded. "Cordelia has no idea that I've already completed alternative trials with better safety measures." A smile spread across my face. "The same protocols she'll need when her rushed trials fail." "Vivian," Marcus's voice held a note of warning. "Don't worry," I said, picking up my phone as another message came in from Nathaniel. "I'm not going to do anything yet. First, I need to make a call to Evelyn. It's time to show my sister what the theoretical researcher is really capable of." Sometimes karma needs a helping hand, and mine was about to become very busy indeed. Evelyn's office felt different at night, more conspiratorial. The city lights twinkled through the windows as I laid out my plan, spreading clinical trial documentation across her desk. "You want to do what?" Evelyn leaned back in her chair, eyebrows raised. "I want to file for independent safety protocol verification," I said, sliding the paperwork across her desk. "I've already got parallel research that proves the current trials are inadequate. The same trials my sister is rushing through development." Evelyn picked up the documents, scanning them with practiced eyes. "That's quite a comprehensive study, Vivian." "I've been building toward this for years," I replied, then swallowed hard. Long before the ethics committee, before they made their choice. My phone lit up with a series of messages. "Nathaniel, emergency meeting called. Safety concerns raised. Dr. C. Reed dismissing all warnings. Marcus, incoming data proves our point. 3 more incidents reported." A knock at the door made us both jump. Marcus entered, carrying 3 cups of coffee and his laptop. "You'll need these. The latest trial results just came in." "You didn't tell me he was involved," Evelyn said, accepting a cup. "Marcus has been overseeing my independent trials since the beginning," I explained. "He's the only one who knew what I was really working on." "And Cordelia has no idea?" Evelyn asked. I laughed softly. "Cordelia thinks I spend my days writing theoretical papers and filing basic patents. She never bothered to look deeper. Speaking of your sister, Marcus interrupted, pulling out his tablet. Look what just went live on the Medical Research Network. He showed us Cordelia's latest post, a video of her walking through the cardiac research lab, her lab coat perfectly pressed. The caption read, "Accelerating Breakthrough Innovation. Can't wait to show everyone what real medical advancement looks like. #ReadMedical, #cardiac innovation, #clinical excellence real medical advancement," I muttered. She's going to need more than hashtags when her safety protocols fail. Evelyn set down her coffee. Vivian, are you sure about this? Professional rivalries can be destructive, even within families. This isn't about rivalry, I cut in. Cordelia didn't just take my research. She's rushing potentially dangerous protocols to market. Remember what happened during my initial trials? Marcus groaned. The safety modifications. What safety modifications? Evelyn asked. My original design had additional safeguards, I explained. Cordelia stripped them out to accelerate development. Said they were unnecessarily cautious and would delay market entry. My phone buzzed with another message from Nathaniel. Fourth incident reported. Patient monitoring showing concerning patterns. Dr. C. Reed insisting it's within acceptable parameters. That's extremely concerning, Rosie said softly. And now she's doing it again, using your research reputation to push through questionable protocols. I stood up and walked to the window, watching the lights of the research district glimmer in the distance. I'm tired of being the overcautious sister, Evelyn. I'm tired of watching her compromise patient safety for corporate timelines. My phone lit up with another notification from Nathaniel. Independent review board meeting scheduled. Your sister's making impossible demands. Safety protocols being bypassed. The data shows clear risks. Need your expertise. Who's that? Marcus asked, organizing our trial documentation. Nathaniel. He doesn't know about my parallel studies, but he knows I understand the technology better than anyone. He's been keeping me updated on the development issues. That could be valuable, Evelyn mused. What exactly is your sister demanding? I pulled up Nathaniel's message thread. She's pushing to skip secondary safety trials. Demanding faster clearance protocols. The review board is getting nervous. The preliminary data shows concerning patterns. Pushing experimental cardiac devices without proper safety protocols, Marcus muttered. She's playing with people's lives. If the safety review board were to receive our independent trial data, I said slowly, the whole project would be frozen for review. Evelyn stood up and walked to her filing cabinet. If we're really doing this, you'll need to file these reports tonight. The review board meets in 2 weeks. Perfect timing, I said, right before her big clinical trial announcement. Vivian, Evelyn said, her voice serious, once we submit this data, there's no going back. Are you prepared for the professional fallout? I thought about all the times Cordelia had dismissed my safety concerns, all the condescending comments about my excessive caution and theoretical approach. I thought about the ethics committee's letter, reducing years of careful research to inexperience. My phone buzzed again. Another message from the research team, patient monitoring systems showing irregular patterns. Dr. C. Reed insisting we maintain acceleration. Team morale dropping. I'm prepared, I said firmly. And I have something Cordelia doesn't. What's that? Marcus asked. Actual proof that her protocols are dangerous. I pulled up our trial data on my tablet. Let's see how my sister handles it when her rushed timeline crashes into real patient safety data. I picked up the formal review request and signed it with steady hands. Time to show everyone what excessive caution looks like when lives are at stake. Marcus checked his phone. Timing might be perfect. Look at this, she just posted another update about revolutionary acceleration in medical device development. The whole industry is watching. Good, I said, watching the late-night research teams through my lab window. It's about time everyone learned what real medical innovation looks like. The Medical Review Board conference room felt like a courtroom, and I was both witness and prosecutor. Board members sat around the massive table, all eyes focused on the data projections. The safety data is conclusive, the chief medical officer announced. The accelerated protocols show unacceptable risk levels in cardiac applications. I raised my hand, the motion practiced to perfection. As the original researcher, I moved to immediately suspend the current trials. Beside me, Marcus subtly adjusted the next set of data slides, a silent question in his eyes. Ready? I gave a slight nod. The evidence stands at a critical point, the CMO continued. Dr. Vivian Reed's independent trials will determine our course of action. My phone buzzed. Cordelia again, her 20th call today. I declined it and stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, I began. I've reviewed the current trial data extensively, the rushed protocols, the bypassed safety measures, the concerning patient readings. The risks are unacceptable for cardiac applications. The vote was quick and decisive. Within minutes, the review board officially suspended all current trials of the Reed cardiovascular enhancement system. As we left the meeting, Evelyn was waiting outside. It's done? Done, I confirmed. The safety protocols failed every benchmark. Has Phoebe published her investigation yet? Just went live 10 minutes ago, Marcus said, checking his phone. Reed medical crisis, safety protocols compromised. It's already trending in medical circles. My phone rang again. This time it was Nathaniel. I answered on speaker. Vivian, it's chaos, he said, his voice shaking. Cordelia's called an emergency press conference for tomorrow. She's trying to save the project, but we have documented safety violations, compromised protocols, and the research team is falling apart. That's concerning, I said, catching Marcus's eye. How's she taking it? There was a crash in the background. She's not handling the suspension well. She's demanding we find ways around the safety blocks. Another call came in, this time from a medical journal. Dr. Reed? This is Dr. Harrison from the Cardiac Review. We'd love to get your comment on the suspended trials. Our sources indicate you might have insight into the protocol failures. No comment at this time, I said, ending the call. Evelyn touched my arm. Are you ready for what comes next? Once Cordelia realizes. Let her realize, I said, walking toward the elevator. I'm done watching her compromise patient safety. Back at my lab, Marcus and I watched the medical news coverage unfold. Every channel showed the same images, research teams reviewing safety protocols, medical boards issuing statements, and Cordelia's increasingly desperate social media posts, still maintaining that professional image. Her latest update, Marcus noted, reading from his tablet. Minor setbacks drive innovation. The Reed medical team is adapting and advancing. #medical innovation, #safety first. Now that's ironic, I said, opening my laptop. Wait until she sees this. I pulled up the document I'd been saving, a detailed record of my parallel research, complete with proof of all the safety protocols she'd ignored. One click would send it to every major medical journal in the country. Vivian, Marcus said quietly, once you do this, there's no going back. No reconciliation, no family research collaborations. Are you sure it's worth it? My finger hovered over the send button. You weren't there, Marcus, all those years of her dismissing my safety concerns, public humiliation, turning the ethics committee against me. I pressed send. She made her choice. Now I've made mine. My phone immediately lit up with notifications, medical journalists, research institutions, and finally, Cordelia. This time I answered. You, she hissed. You were running parallel trials all along. Surprise, sister dear. Turns out I understand clinical research after all. How dare you? Her voice shook with rage. The ethics committee was right about you. You're nothing but a what? I cut in. A cautious researcher? A safety advocate? Funny how this overcautious approach just proved your protocol's dangerous. I'll destroy your reputation, she threatened. No, Cordelia, you already tried that. Now it's time for real medical innovation. I hung up as another call came in. Phoebe from the Medical Observer. I just received your trial data, she said. This is bigger than a simple protocol violation. Would you consider an interview about medical ethics in device development? Actually, I smiled, I have a better idea. How about exclusive coverage of tomorrow's press conference? I think it's time someone spoke up about rushing medical trials for corporate timelines. The hospital's conference hall was packed, every medical journal and news outlet scrambling for the best position. I stood backstage, watching Cordelia pace in her pristine lab coat, her perfect image finally showing cracks. This is a disaster, she muttered, checking her phone. Where are the revised safety reports? Why isn't anyone responding? Maybe because the data doesn't lie, I said, stepping out of the shadows. Cordelia whirled around. You have no right to be here. Actually, I do. I held up my presenter's badge. I'm one of the keynote speakers. Like hell you are. She grabbed for my badge, but Marcus stepped between us. Ladies and gentlemen, the conference moderator announced, please welcome Dr. Cordelia Reed to discuss the future of the Reed Cardiovascular Enhancement System. Cordelia straightened her lab coat, plastering on her media smile. This isn't over, she hissed before walking onto the stage. You ready? Marcus whispered. I watched my sister take the podium. More than ready. Thank you all for coming, Cordelia began. As you know, we've encountered some temporary setbacks in our trials. A reporter's hand shot up. Dr. Reed, sources say your safety protocols failed multiple benchmarks. Comment? We're optimizing our safety parameters, Cordelia said smoothly. The Reed medical legacy stands for excellence in patient care. Speaking of legacy, another reporter interrupted. Can you address reports that your sister's parallel trials showed significant safety concerns months ago? The color drained from Cordelia's face. She gripped the podium harder. That's. I nodded to Marcus. He signaled to Phoebe in the audience. Phoebe stood up. Dr. Reed, the Medical Observer has obtained documentation showing your sister Dr. Vivian Reed has been running comprehensive safety trials for the past year, identifying critical risks in your accelerated protocols. Would you care to comment on your previous statements about her overcautious approach? The room erupted in camera flashes and shouted questions. Cordelia's professional mask cracked completely. This is ridiculous, she snapped. My sister's excessive caution would delay life-saving innovations. She's nothing but a thorough researcher, I said, walking onto the stage. The room fell silent. Would you like to review my safety data, Cordelia? Or should we discuss how you've been bypassing standard protocols to meet corporate deadlines? Security. Cordelia called out. Remove her. They can't, I said calmly. I'm a registered speaker, and I have documented evidence. Nathaniel appeared at the back of the room, holding up a data drive, including these trial records showing ignored safety warnings. Cordelia lunged for the microphone, but I got there first. Ladies and gentlemen, I addressed the crowd. My name is Dr. Vivian Reed. While my sister was busy rushing trials and bypassing protocols, I was quietly conducting thorough, methodical research, the kind that actually protects patients. Cameras flashed as I pulled up the safety data on the presentation screen. For years, Cordelia has painted me as the overly cautious researcher. The ethics committee believed her. But real medical innovation doesn't skip safety protocols or ignore warning signs. You're destroying everything. Cordelia shouted. No, sister. You did that yourself when you put corporate timelines ahead of patient safety. The questions came rapid fire. Dr. Vivian, what other safety concerns did you identify? Was this parallel research planned from the start? Will you take over the project's development? I held up my hand. The Reed cardiovascular system was built on rushed protocols and bypassed safety measures, just like Cordelia built her reputation on undermining mine. Both were bound to fail eventually. You little. Cordelia grabbed my arm, but Marcus was faster, stepping between us again. Security, he called. Please escort Dr. Cordelia out. She seems to be under considerable stress. As security led my struggling sister away, Phoebe approached the podium. Dr. Reed, would you care to elaborate on your approach to medical device safety? I smiled at the cameras. Actually, I would. It's time everyone knew what the overcautious researcher has been protecting them from. For the next hour, I laid out my research methodology, watching Cordelia's reputation crumble in real time as medical journalists fact-checked everything. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from research institutions and medical boards. Afterward, in the empty conference hall, Marcus handed me a cup of coffee. How does it feel? Like validation, I said, watching the cleaning crew take down the Reed medical banners. And relief. Those devices could have hurt people. Think she'll ever recover professionally? Maybe. From being exposed by her overly cautious little sister? I took a sip of coffee. Unlikely. My phone buzzed. Evelyn, turn on the medical news. Cordelia's research partners are pulling out en masse. The device development is officially suspended. I looked out the window at the research facility. Soon it would be just another failed project, a monument to rushing medical innovation at the cost of safety. Ready to go? Marcus asked. Almost. I took one last look around the conference hall. I just want to remember this moment. When being careful and thorough finally meant something. The rain poured down at the abandoned research facility as Cordelia stood in the parking lot, her designer lab coat soaked through. I watched from my car as she stared at the building, now covered in research suspended notices. Should we talk to her? Marcus asked from the driver's seat. Wait, I said. Just as Cordelia's shoulders slumped in defeat, I stepped out of the car, umbrella in hand, and walked toward my sister. For the first time in our lives, she looked small. Come to gloat, she asked without looking up. No. I held the umbrella over both of us. I came to return this. I pulled out the ethics committee's letter, the one calling me inexperienced. Cordelia's hands trembled as she took it. You ruined me, she whispered. You ruined yourself, I corrected. I just refuse to let patients pay the price for it. Dr. Reed? We both turned to see Phoebe approaching with a camera crew. Could we get a statement about the research suspension? Cordelia scrambled to her feet, trying to salvage her professional demeanor, but stumbled on the wet pavement. I instinctively caught her arm. "Get that camera out of my face," she snarled. "Actually," I said, "I'll give a statement." The camera light flicked on, and Phoebe held out her microphone. "Dr. Vivian Reed, you're now being called the safety advocate by medical journals. How does it feel to watch your sister's project suspended?" I looked at Cordelia, seeing past her facade to the desperate researcher beneath. Medical innovation isn't about speed. Sometimes the most important breakthroughs come from being thorough, from putting patient safety first. And what lesson should the medical community learn from this? Before I could answer, Cordelia grabbed the microphone. "You want a statement? Fine." My perfect little sister played me. She waited in the shadows, running parallel trials while I trusted her act of being overly cautious. "That's enough," I cut in. "The cameras are here for the research suspension, not our family drama." "Family drama." Cordelia laughed hysterically. "You destroyed our medical legacy." "No, I protected it." I turned to the camera. The Reed legacy isn't about rushing breakthroughs or cutting corners. It's about developing safe, reliable medical innovations, something our parents could have been proud of if they'd looked past corporate timelines. "Cut the camera," Phoebe ordered, sensing the shift in mood. She nodded to me and led her crew away. Cordelia and I stood in silence, the rain drumming on my umbrella. "What happens now?" she finally asked. "Now you remember why we got into medicine in the first place. Maybe try developing something that puts patients before profits." Easy for you to say. You've won. The medical boards love you. The research community loves you. She wiped her eyes. Even Nathaniel quit to join your team. "I didn't do this to win, Cordelia. I did it to protect people." A sleek car pulled up, and Evelyn stepped out. "Dr. Reed, the Medical Ethics Board is waiting." Cordelia straightened her spine, that old familiar professional mask sliding back into place. But now I could see the cracks in it. "One more thing," I said as she turned to leave. "Those overly cautious protocols you mocked? They've been approved by 3 independent review boards now. Funny how that worked out." She stopped. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you need to understand, I was never the overcautious researcher you thought I was. I just refused to compromise on patient safety." "Dr. Reed," Evelyn called again. "We need to go." Cordelia took one last look at her failed project. "I really thought my way was better than yours." "I know. That was your biggest mistake." As Cordelia walked away, Marcus joined me under the umbrella. "You okay?" "Look at this place," I said, gesturing at the abandoned facility. "All that rushing, all those bypassed protocols, all those risks, for what?" "For a lesson," he replied, "one she'll never forget." My phone buzzed with a news alert: Reed Medical Device Suspension Final. Leading safety researcher Dr. Vivian Reed comments on protocol standards. "They're calling me a leading researcher now," I laughed softly. If they only knew how many nights I spent triple-checking safety data, running additional trials, building this step by careful step. "Maybe you should tell them," Marcus suggested. "Show everyone that thorough doesn't mean slow." I looked at the facility one last time. No. Let them learn it themselves. Just like I did. We walked back to the car as the rain began to ease. Behind us, Cordelia's rushed project stood as a monument to the importance of patience, to consequences, and to the power of doing things right. Sometimes the most careful path is the most successful. The morning sun streamed through my new office windows as I reviewed the latest safety protocols. A knock at the door made me look up. "Ready for the board meeting?" Marcus asked, leaning against the doorframe. Almost. I gathered my papers, pausing at a medical journal clipping pinned to my bulletin board, former Reed Medical Facility to become Medical Innovation Center. Still can't believe you bought it, Marcus said, following my gaze. Someone had to. I grabbed my lab coat. Besides, young researchers need a place to develop their innovations properly. The elevator ride to the conference room was interrupted at the lobby. The doors opened to reveal Cordelia, looking different in a simple business suit, her designer brands gone. Going up? I asked. She hesitated before stepping in. 4th floor. The medical ethics office. Submitting new protocols? Marcus asked. Cordelia nodded, clutching her folder tighter. I have an appointment with the review board. The silence stretched until I broke it. How's the fresh start going? She swallowed hard, it's humbling. But proper. The elevator stopped at the 4th floor. Before stepping out, Cordelia turned to me. I saw what you're doing with the Innovation Center. It's good. Better than what I planned. After she left, Marcus whistled low. Was that actually humility from Cordelia? Safety protocols work in mysterious ways, I said as we reached our floor. The conference room was packed with familiar faces. Evelyn sat next to Nathaniel, reviewing documentation. Phoebe was there too, notebook ready. Let's begin, I announced, taking my seat. The Medical Innovation Center project is on schedule. And properly certified, Nathaniel reported. No rushed protocols, no bypassed safety measures. We're creating something that will last. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number, found Dad's old research journals. Thought you should have them. See, looks like someone's learning, Marcus said, reading over my shoulder. Maybe. I typed back, thanks. Good luck with the review board. Walking through the development labs of the Innovation Center, I stopped where Cordelia's rushed project had once been. Now it was a collaborative space for careful, thorough research. Dr. Reid, a young researcher, approached me. I just wanted to say thank you. This center, it's giving us a chance to do things right. Sometimes, I replied, all anyone needs is a chance to prove that careful doesn't mean slow.